Hello my friends, hope you're doing well today. So in this video, I wanted to talk about something that really confused me when I was starting out with virtual instruments in general. And I saw it on all the forums like VI Control and things like that. And it was something called the transposition trick. So I've never had to use it myself, but I'm sure there's a few of you out there who will. And I just want to talk about it a little bit and then, demonstrate it. So essentially what the transposition trick is that you're taking, so let's say we have a sample library, like a strings library, that records each note with one sample, right? So let's say this company recorded a middle C, like violins playing middle C once. And then they recorded a C sharp, and then they recorded a D playing once, and then, E flat, and then so on. So let's say the sections it comes with is violins, violas, celli, basses, right? But let's say you wanted more than one section of violins. Let's say you wanted a violins 2 section. Well, your library actually doesn't contain violins 2. So you're forced to duplicate the first section of violins and then play in the same sample in order to layer that same note to make it sound bigger, right? Now, as a result, what happens is we get something called phasing. And when you have two identical samples or two identical waveforms, like sound files, that have the same shape, that's exactly what happens. And the resulting sound isn't so great. So let me kind of show you what the trick is. So I'm going to record a C here. So I'll do that for a couple bars here. Okay, now you can imagine if so here you can see I've loaded up the identical patch, violins 1 sustains immediate. You can imagine if I played the C again here, then I'm going to get the exact same sound, right? But what happens if I just activate the exact same sound? Well, it's going to double in volume because I'm activating the exact same file. So what I want to do is I want the section to sound bigger, like there's more players, and I want it to sound more alive, right? So what I'll do is, because I know that they recorded the D separate from the C, I'll actually play a D, so this D right here, and then after that I will transpose it down a whole step back down to C, so then it has two notes of different quality, but now they sound like the same pitch. So let me show you this as well. Okay, so there we go. So you heard two different notes, which is obvious because I recorded the C first and now I just recorded the D. So what I'll do is I'll go to the D, and here, this is quite huge. What I'll do is I'll actually take the pitch bend and let's see here. I'll actually take this. And now I went all the way down with the pitch bend. So to -64, and what happened is it took it down a complete whole step. So now if I play both samples together, then I hear, right? So now it sounds like one pitch, but now the whole thing sounds slightly bigger. So I don't know why I did two. It sounds slightly bigger. And if we listen to these samples separately, you can see that the C note versus the D note definitely sounds different. The D note sounds a bit thinner and slightly more clear, and that's, you can understand that because the D is higher than the C naturally, right? So the violin has a shriller quality when it's playing a higher note versus a lower note, right? So that's really it. The transposition trick is really just used to get a thicker sound, a different texture in your sound when you're trying to layer in the same part, but you don't quite have the other section to do it for you. So you're forced to take another note, another recorded note, and then transpose it back down or up, right? So let's say I recorded the C, but then I took a B or a B flat, and then brought it back up to match the C there. And that's really the idea. So that's when you would use it. If you only have one section of violins, let's say, and they only recorded one sample, so you're playing that note, then you play, you open a new track, and then you record in another note that's either a whole step or half step down or up, so below or above, and then you transpose it to match the original note. And then because both samples are actually different samples, because they're both different recordings, not only will you get a different sounding quality that sounds thicker and more rich, but you'll actually avoid phasing, which is something that you want to avoid in general because it kind of affects the sound negatively, as we can say. So that's a short little tip for you. I hope that helps. I've personally never used it because in all my string libraries I have the actual separate violins 1 and 2 sections. And if I wanted to layer in another violin's sound or another note from in my music, I'll actually open up another library. So what I do is I always layer Berlin strings and Cinematic Studio strings, and I'll do a separate video on this, comparing the two and when I use both. But that's what I'll do. But if you only have that one library, if you're a beginner and you're just starting out, right, this trick can come in handy sometimes. So that's it basically. So thank you for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. If I said anything wrong, because I'm learning as well. I'm always trying to update my knowledge and learn more about this production stuff in general. So I really appreciate any feedback. So thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video, and take care. Bye.